Hey guys, it's me, MissDarizard, and it's time for our Week 9 MissDarizard Draft League recap. Let's get into it. So the first match we're going to cover is the Miami Monetrics, that's Brad the Bad, against the San Salazels, that's Garfunkel. And this match is a marathon, a lot of stalling, so just to give you guys a heads up, so get buckled in. So first off, we're going to see both of them take time to get hazards out there. Brad getting the sticky webs of Shuckle out there, as well as the rocks and the spikes with Ferrothorn, and Kerfungal going right into the toxic spikes with Toxapex. These are going to be a major part of the way this game is played out, obviously. The one good thing Brad really has going for him here early on, though, is that he brought Shed Skin Scrafty instead of opting in for Moxie, which turns out to be the right choice because the Scrafty is able to constantly shake off like being toxic or other various status effects. He's able to take out the Reuniclus, which is a pretty good kill early on in the match here. Reuniclus can hit real hard if it gets the opportunity to set up. And really, Brad's going to play a game where he's knocking off items, he's getting good chip damage off, and he's roaring and just dragging people through the hazards, just getting as much damage as possible until Jolteon gets brought out. And Jolteon's going to actually do big damage here, especially with Scrafty being -1 special defense. And then Brad smartly switches out into Ferrothorn because doesn't want to lose Scrafty, and Jolteon gets some good chip damage off on Ferrothorn here, but Brad getting the Leech Seed up and then getting the Protect up to get some extra healing back. Kerfungal realizes he's not going to be able to take out Ferrothorn with Jolteon, goes into Toxapex. Brad doesn't like that matchup, so he switches into Shuckle, and it just turns into a match of them just taking turns swapping in Pokemon in and out for a while. Kerfungal tries to get a good wall going with Corsola and getting some of that health back, but Brad smartly switches into Shuckle, who already has a super low attack stat, so Corsola not really able to restore a lot of its health because of that. And then Brad going into Scrafty for the revenge kill once Corsola takes out the Shuckle. Kerfungal quickly going back into Jolteon because, you remember Jolteon got big damage off last time. Volt switches and then goes into Toxapex, who eats the Brick Break like no problem, and then Scrafty dies to the Toxic Spikes. Kerfungal then going back into Jolteon, who dies to Hazards, so losing a pretty good Pokemon there for nothing. That's really unfortunate. Not bringing a Pokemon that can clear hazards was a bit of an oversight, but really in this league this year, that's not been something tremendously common. It seems like hazard clears is something that people kind of don't think about or forget about for the most part, which has been interesting, because that's obviously something you want to make sure you bring when you're playing against someone who relies so heavily on hazards. But what we see here is Lanoon against Ferrothorn. We're going to see some Stomping Tantrum. Stomping Tantrum does do more damage when it fails. That includes a Protect, but Ferrothorn is just so bulky and able to just stall out the Lanoon between Toxic and Leech Seed that it's really not going to make much of a difference. Ferrothorn's down at 23%, but Ferrothorn can still do a lot of damage at 23%. But Weevil hits really fucking hard, so that's not something we're going to see. We're going to see the Weevil immediately take out the Ferrothorn. Get rid of the Disguise on the Mimikyu. Mimikyu goes ahead and gets the Drain Punch off here, easily killing Weevil, and then Kerfungal goes into Toxapex. Brad wants no part of the Toxapex with Mimikyu and goes into Espeon smartly, and we're going to see Espeon basically finish this matchup here, hitting it with a Stab Psychic super effective attack. And that's it for that match. Brad picks up another win and moves on to 8-1 on the season. He also clinches playoffs with that win. The next match is Pokemon Real Time. That's the Sunny Day Solar Beams against Primarsu. That's the Shadow Kingdom Kangars. This match is going to be over in a hurry. Mew quickly takes out the Hitmonchan and then gets really good chip damage off on Gardevoir, as well as paralyzing thanks to Synchronize. They take turns synchronizing with each other. And luckily for Pry, Mew gets fully paralyzed here, not able to kill the Gardevoir, but Vaporeon comes in and easily finishes the job. Then Pride goes into Vikavolt, real time, switching into a champ here. But, you know, really doesn't really do much with that switch. Really just takes unnecessary damage. But then goes into Ninetales, and Ninetales just completely destroys the Vikavolt. Arctivish able to come in and revenge kill. But now you have Vileplume in Sun. That's a fucking problem, especially when your Hydreigon is out here missing Fire Blasts. Gets big damage off on Gengar. Gengar returns with a Shadow Ball. The special attack down seems important, except it crit, so the special attack down didn't really make a difference. Vileplume easily finishes off Arctivish. So, real time picking up a win, staying in the playoff conversation, while Primarusu is mathematically eliminated. The next match is my own. That's MissDarizard, the Levine City Volties, against Sergeant Mech. That's my boyfriend. He starts off with a laser focus explosion to completely destroy my Ribombee. First time I've seen laser focus this season. First time anyone's seen laser focus this season. For those of you who don't know, so you don't have to look it up, laser focus guarantees your next hit is a critical hit. So apparently he ran damage calcs. That laser focus explosion stab from Silvally was going to have enough damage to kill anything on my team in one shot. So really good research there. Was not expecting that. Really fun way to start the match. But here we see Bewear gets some big damage off on Lunatone, but Lunatone just hits too especially hard. Bewear just can't handle it, getting Bewear off the board. And then I switch into Spicy Lizard thinking, you know, he's probably going to click a Fairy type attack. No, he clicks Tri-Attack, completely destroys my Salazzle. But my Vanillix is so thick, especially behind that Aurora Veil, getting some super effective damage off. I see he's being soft-boiled, so I'm thinking, all right, well, let's go for Blizzard then. We don't need to preserve Blizzards if we're just going to take turns healing and doing damage here. And then he goes into Drampa to get that Cloud 9 off, which takes away the effects of Hail, meaning Blizzard is no longer guaranteed. Really smart play. So I end up having to switch out, and after, you know, a couple things die on both sides, as you see Togekiss able to take out Lunatone, I'm able to go back into my Ice Cream Cone, take out the Togekiss. Diggersby gets the quick attack kill on Vanillix, and then from here we're just going to see Keldeo finish off Sergeant Mech's team. Really fun match. Some really good tech. I was really impressed with some of the tech he brought for that game. So the next one we're going to cover is Riley Brooks. That's the Port Richey Pyukumukus against Okan Elagaz. That's the Atlanta Alcremies. Starting off bad for Okan. That Dracovish bringing Psychic Fang and Okoing Roselia, but then Okan returning the favor with a +1 Earthquake to get rid of the super bulky Lantern. Unfortunately, Gyarados not able to take out the Poltegeist because it's sashed. Poltegeist able to get off a Shell Smash and get the speed boost from the held item, or I'm sorry, from weak armor, and then take out the Gyarados, take out the Whimsicott. Not able to take out the Escavalier. The Escavalier finish off Poltegeist. So Riley Brooks goes into Dracovish. So Okan smartly switches into Gastrodon, who just absolutely eats those outrages like nothing. And then Okan, really smart play, brings counter here, able to take out the Dracovish. And this next section is going to take a long time. We do see Riley click Toxic there against the Steel type. Maybe he was expecting a switch in. I'm not really sure. Probably trying to predict the switch in his Zeraora, I would imagine. That switch never comes. And really what we're seeing here is just Okan prodding, trying to figure out a way to get rid of this Pyukumuku, because this Pyukumuku is a problem if you're not prepared for it. It likes to soak, it likes to toxic, it likes to get screens up, and it likes to heal. It doesn't do any direct damaging moves, so if you don't bring taunt, this thing is a lot to deal with. However, one taunt makes this thing completely useless, so anyone who has Priley, maybe keep that in mind. So again, I mean, there's not much else to say. At this point, they're just switching. Okan's still prodding, trying to figure out, you know, what his win con is here. He is able to get a burn off on Pyukumuku. Riley finally gets tired of playing, you know, this long waited game. Goes into Colossal to, I don't know what the purpose of switching into Colossal for one turn was, and then immediately going back into Pyukumuku, but he does. Okan tries clicking Earth Power instead now that Pyukumuku has the burn. He doesn't need to get that status ailment on it anymore. And then goes in Zeraora. I don't know if he had Plasma Fist. I'd be really surprised if he didn't. Probably should have clicked that there, but he's probably expecting Steelix, switching to Steelix for that immune switch in. The thing about that is, unless it's banded, which it very well may have been, switching into close combat is your best choice, or clicking Plasma Fist is your best bet there, because what you're able to do is Zeraora is going to outspeed you. You click Plasma Fists, it's immune, and then you click something different. But I'm willing to bet it was banded. He gets the close combat off on Steelix. Steelix eats it, kills off Zeraora with a head smash, and now it's looking really bad for Okan because, you know, the obvious answer to getting rid of this Pyukumuku is gone. How is he going to get rid of this Pyukumuku? Well, enter Escavalier, who's going to come in, get some good damage off initially, and then continues getting good damage off. Riley more concerned about getting the toxic off and less about healing, and that's going to be what cost him the match. If he clicks recover there instead of getting greedy with the toxic, he's able to stay alive long enough to take out this Escavalier. But because he misplays there, Okan's able to take advantage of that, get rid of the Pyukumuku, the only thing that's preventing Riley from losing this game, and then is able to easily finish off Colossal with this Gastrodon. And Okan picks up a really good win against a team that is fighting for the playoffs. So the last match we're going to cover is this is for Rachel. Actually, this is for Rachel. She changed her name. That's funny. I just realized that. Against Frozen Wrath, who is Hoenn Mad. Right off the rip, we see Avila get big damage off with Body Press against the Mamoswine. Not a great way to start for Frozen Wrath. And then she starts setting up with the Avalugg. So Frozen's like, you know what? You're going to set up, I'm going to set up too. Watch my frog. And he starts dancing with his frog. And a +6 Toxicroak is something that nobody wants to see. Especially considering it does get access to priority Sucker Punch. This thing is a monster. This thing is an absolute monster. Especially once you get it built up like this. It takes out Runerigerus, even with the Colbur Berry. Takes out Cofagrigus, even with the Colbur Berry, and then takes out the Vespiquen with good electric type coverage with Thunder Punch. Like, this thing immediately punches a huge hole in Rachel's team. All of her Trick Room options are gone now. So she's basically committed to being outsped for the rest of the match, which is a really bad look. She is able to get some good damage off on the Dusclops, so the Dusclops gets the Will-O-Wisp off. Able to really just destroy the Wishiwashi's attack stat. And from here, it's Frozen just basically making sure he plays it smart and does what he can to get as much chip damage off on this Avalugg as possible. Fortunately, she does bring Recover, so outspeeding the Dusclops, that Nightshade's not enough. Avalugg's able to get all its health back, and you can see Frozen really just trying to find an option here. Like, what is the best way to kill this thing? Finally, he just decides to pull the trigger. We're going to put the Dragon Pokemon out against the Ice-type Pokemon. Really risky, but he easily outspeeds. Clicks Flamethrower, absolutely destroys the Avalugg, gets the Avalugg off the map, out of the game, and then brings Electric-type coverage to take out the Wishiwashi. And then finally, Rachel goes into the Caparaja. Not sure Flamethrower would have killed. It probably would have only done about 58%, even without the berry. But, you know, the Caparaja scares Frozen for a little bit, but the good tech with Serena, with Trop Kick, dropping the attack, makes it a non-concern. Mamoswine able to come in and finish it off. And those are our matches for the week. With that match, Frozen inches ever closer to clinching a playoff spot, and we'll actually be able to see that here in the standings. I went ahead and updated everything. The green highlighted teams are the teams that have clinched playoffs. So currently, just myself, the Olivine City Volties, sitting atop my division at 7-2, with a 19 kill differential, and the Miami Manectrics at now 9-1. He had his match for week 10 already, so I went ahead and updated the standings to reflect that, with a differential of 20. The only two to clinch playoffs so far, We do have a few teams eliminated in the Newbark Normalizers, Shadow Kingdom Gengars. This is for Rachel, San Diego Talonflames, Atlanta Alcremies, and Cinnabon Slazzles. And this is where it's going to be exciting. You have Hoen's Mad and Port Richie Piukamukus fighting for basically the wildcard spot. If Frozen loses both of his matches remaining and Riley wins both of his matches remaining and Riley has a significant differential in doing so, and Frozen has to lose his matches in an ugly fashion as well, Riley can actually steal that wild card spot from Frozen. So it's still possible for Riley to make it. And then in the Blastoise division, you have the Sunny Day Solar Beams only a game behind, well, a game and a half now, a game and a half behind British Gent. Can definitely still make it if British Gent loses this week. And then this is awesome. If British Gent loses this week, the final match of the season for these two teams are against each other. So it could potentially come down to who wins the last game of the season in a head-to-head matchup. Basically a play-in game for Belper Bewares and Sunny Day Solar Beams. I have all the respect in the world for British Gent and the Belper Bewares, but it would be so exciting to see him drop a match this week and them have a head-to-head match for a play-in match, the last game of the season, to determine who's going to get that last playoff spot. That would be so cool, and I'm kind of hoping that's the way it plays out. And then down here you can see the kill leaders, Toxicroak. Toxicroak has just been so solid all season. Now the next part, this was kind of tricky. The Pokemon of the week. We had 5 Pokemon. 5. Who had 3 kills this week. Every team that won this week had a Pokemon with 3 kills. There was no way for me to possibly differentiate which one was more important to their team this week, so I just gave it a 5-way tie. I know that's kind of lazy, but how else am I supposed to decide this, guys? Ferrothorn was really solid for Brad. Gastrodon won the match for Okan. Vileplume won the match for Real Time. Toxicroak put Frozen in a spot where it was easy for him to win his match by punching a huge hole on it early, and Keldeo won the match for me. So, like, you really can't make an argument for any of these above the other. So the only way I could do it is give it to all 5. So there's that. Brad finally getting his first Pokemon of the week, even though it's being shared with 4 others. I think that's kind of funny. And yeah, that's gonna do it, guys. Thanks for hanging out. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching this out through the end. I will be streaming Pokemon. We actually finished our white Nuzlocke, our white hardcore Nuzlocke. We beat it. I'm super excited. So we're gonna be working on some post game this week for that. I've never done the black and white post game, so I'm gonna try that and see how it goes. If I wipe, not a big deal. I got my Hall of Fame entries. The next Nuzlocke series we're going to be doing is a Heart Gold Soul Silver randomizer hardcore Nuzlocke, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I also am going to be shiny hunting a Combi for Real Time, Pokemon Real Time. So if you like shiny hunting, you can come hang out and check that out as well. Feel free to check out my Instagram, my Twitter, and my Twitch. All my information is right here on the side, like right over here. You guys want to get that information? My Twitch name is the same as my YouTube name, MissDarizard. And yeah, that's going to do it. So thanks for hanging out, guys. I will be back for our Week 10 weekly recap next week. And we'll see how the playoff picture looks then. Until then, have a good one, guys.